All right. Now we have people joining us. Hello and welcome. We'll give it a minute for everybody to come in to the space. Make sure you have your sound on. Please type in the Q&A if you can't see or hear me, if you're having any problems. I think that you should be able to still see people joining. So we'll give it about 1 minute and then we'll get started. All right. For the sake of time and to be cognizant of your time, I'm going to go ahead and get started. It looks like we have some people that are still joining us, but I'll make sure that they don't miss some of the most pertinent information. My name is Brooke Buffington. I serve as the Assistant Vice President of the Student Professional Development Center, and I am delighted to speak with you all today. I'm under the impression that this is most likely first and second year parents. If you're a third or fourth year parent as well, that's great. I'm going to focus a lot of the topic of today's conversation on our first and second year students, but you'll receive some overall information about the Student Professional Development Center that's relevant to every student that we serve at Elon and to our alumni. The topic of the conversation today is on focus on our student services work versus our corporate and employer relations work, which is an entirely different side of the team and another aspect to what we do at the Student Professional Development Center. I do have some slides to show you and a presentation to go through. This is being recorded, so I ask that you put your questions in the chat or in the Q&A, and we'll address those questions both verbally and those that have been written in the Q&A at the end of the presentation. So that way we can post the recording on the parent engagement website and the questions are held to the end, if that's all right with everybody. But make sure you write those questions down so that I don't miss answering them for you at the end of the conversation. So the Student Professional Development Center is our career services office on campus. We are centralized and provide career services to all of our undergraduate students. Our graduate students are alumni. The only population that we don't currently serve is the college, Elon Law, and that is served by a great team over in Greensboro for the law school. But I'd love to know who is here today. Where are you joining us from? What class year is your student? And what is your student's major or potential area of study? If you know that information, that would be great. That just gives me kind of a frame of reference of who I'm talking to, and hopefully then I can tailor my the material to be going to be what most helpful for you. So if you don't mind dropping that information into the chat, that would be great. So the Student Professional Development Center, you'll often hear me call it the SPDC. That's what students will often call it. Is ranked number 15 in the nation. It's been a top 20 career service center for the past 10 years. We're proud of that designation because it's given to us by our students and our alumni that say that we're meeting their needs and serving our purpose here at the institution. We're also ranked number 8 in the U.S. News and World Report on internships. As you maybe have heard your student talk about, internships are a part of the culture here at Elon, and they are required in our Love School of Business and in our School of Communications, as well as with some of our arts and sciences majors. So internships are a lot of the work that we do and how we support students. And so talking about those internships, especially when we're talking to first and second year parents, I often get the question, should my first year do an internship over the summer? And the answer really is varied depending on the student and what they might want to go and do. So I'm going to speak in general terms today, but I'm happy to answer specific questions at the end of the presentation. The summer after a student's first year is really the great time for them to continue with that part-time job that they've always loved. Some of our students work at summer camps that they've always loved. It's really their last summer that we see them going back home and enjoying what is more traditional summer of a student. So it's not necessary that they have an internship experience after their first year. That is, unless they're in some really competitive fields, such as looking at investment banking or consulting or some of our financial fields. There are some first year leadership opportunities that students can look at. They're not full-time internship opportunities, but they're leadership opportunities that they might be able to pursue to go ahead and start networking in their field. But most fields, it's going to be really hard for a first year student to find an internship unless it's with a small business, unless it's with a local business, because a lot of those larger employers are looking to hire students that are at least completed their sophomore year and maybe even completed their junior year, which is more of their major level classes that they're coming into those internship experiences with. But we're always happy to speak with a first year student about what internship opportunities might be in front of them if they're very professionally minded and eager to go ahead and get started on internships. We had over 32,000 internships posted on the Elon Job Network last year. EJN is what we call the Elon Job Network. All students have access to this network. It is our job and internship database where we post jobs and internships. Right now, we just heard from our corporate and employer relations team, and we're posting probably 20 to 30 jobs a day. Those are both jobs and internships on the Elon Job Network. And those are often given to us by our corporate partnerships, by Elon community members, alumni, the people that we've built relationships with that are looking for great Elon talent. So they're really curated opportunities for strong companies and organizations throughout the nation. They're not just located in North Carolina. We pull a great deal of internships up from New York, from Boston, from California, Chicago, and our corporate and employer relations team travels for a living to those major metropolitan locations, building relationships with corporations and organizations for internship and entry-level opportunities. We had 1,420 students register their internship for credit last year. We see a lot of those students in their junior summer, the summer after their junior year, before their senior year. That's the predominant time that they're registering those internships and completing those summer internships for credit. And 89% of our graduating class completed an internship prior to graduation. And that's a minimum of one internship. So we really like to see those students get that internship experience while they're here. It's valuable for a variety of reasons. One, it's great professional experience, and employers are often looking for it in an entry-level candidate. Two, it helps to inform the student more about the type of job that they might be interested in pursuing post-graduation. Some students come back from their internships and absolutely love what they did. And other students come back and say, it isn't what I thought it was. And what did that teach me about where I want to go next? Both experiences are really valuable, and we like to see students gain those experiences. What do internships lead to? Here's some information on our class of 2023. We gather information for each of our classes at graduation, 3 months post-graduation, and then 9 months post-graduation. So here I've got the 9-month post-graduation data for the class of 2023. You'll see at the bottom right hand of my screen, which I believe is the bottom right of your screen as well, 96% of that class is employed, attending graduate school, completing a postgraduate internship fellowship, or working for a service organization. And that doesn't take into account the 2% who have told us that they're traveling. So those are really great numbers to see. We like to see our class land in a solid place. But what tells us if they've landed where they want to is that number right above it, which is where we ask the students who have told us they have an outcome, whether it's graduate school, a fellowship, or full-time job. Is this outcome where you want to be? Does it align with your career goals? And 95% of them say, yes, where I'm at is where I want to be. It aligns with my career goals, which is really important to us. It's not just a job or a graduate program. It's a graduate program that's aligned to where they see themselves in the future. So what does this mean for the types of events and the types of support that we provide your student while they're here? I'm going to not walk through every single one of these events because you can see them, but we host a wide variety of events every single year. It is never too early for a first or second year student to attend one of our events. I actually highly recommend for first and second year students to attend the events because it's a great way for them in a low risk, high reward environment to have some networking exposure, to see senior students that are representing themselves for full-time jobs, and just to get comfortable in a networking and professional space. One of the best events for them to attend, especially if they're maybe a more timid student or maybe intimidated by the larger events, would be that student employment fair. We host one every fall and every spring. Once again, low risk, high reward. These are on-campus partners and local partners who are looking to hire students part-time for jobs while they're students here at Elon. So a great way for them to represent themselves professionally, clean up that resume, introduce themselves to employers, but they're not trying to get that really competitive internship. They're trying to get an on-campus job. We host an event over in the Health Sciences building. You'll see we hosted a accounting meet and greet, a business job and internship fair. These are in order of how we host them in the fall. And we actually order our events so they align with the recruiting timelines of the industries that these events serve. So nursing recruiting happens early, accounting recruiting and business recruiting happens early and happens through the fall. So we host those events in the fall. We also host the STEM meet and greet in the fall. We just finished that up at the beginning of October. And then as we move into the spring semester, we'll host our campus-wide career fair. That'll be in February, communications and sport management meet and greet, which is a little bit later in February, and then an education interview day for our teacher candidates. So we host both a large career fair, you'll see there a campus-wide career fair for all majors, and then we focus some of our events on certain industry areas so that they align with the timelines. Now, interspersed with those events, we'll also have panels and opportunities for students in other majors that maybe are attending these events, plus are looking for additional information, such as the Meeting of the Minds panel today, which is going to bring in psychology majors from across all industries. There are former psychology majors at Elon, now working professionals that are working in all different industries with their psychology degree. 2 weeks ago, we had a panel on working with the government and international affairs, and we had panelists speaking to students about what does that work like and how do they best position themselves for those marketplaces. So some of our events are really serving broad and wide industries, and then to intermix with those events, we'll do panels and other smaller networking events to make sure students get the exposure that they need in all the different industry areas that they might be interested in going into. So what does this look like? So if a student's working with the SBDC, if your student's brand new at Elon, what do we like to see? And kind of what is our philosophy of work is what I'm going to, the predominant and the primary kind of part of our conversation today is how do we work with students? So career advising is an important aspect of our work. It's actually over half of the people on our team are career advisors and student facing. It looks very traditional on this slide, but then I'm going to deep dive into kind of how it works within each of our schools so you can see what is unique at Elon. So we do provide support for resumes and cover letters, jobs and internship search, networking, interviewing, and on-campus student employment. This you would see at any career services office across the nation for schools that have strong career advising and career services teams. But what we do at each one of these appointments is one, we ask the questions beyond just what they've come in for. They might come in for a resume, but then at the end of the conversation, we say, what are you using this resume for? How can I make sure that you know what that next step looks like? And then we might set up a repeat or return of appointment for them to come in and talk about how that resume is going to be utilized. You'll see there a quote from one of our students. We do a satisfaction survey to make sure that when a student comes in for a career advising appointment, that their needs are being met. And if there's an opportunity for us to do even better. And we get a lot of great quotes from students like the one that you see on that slide. So overall, developmentally, kind of what do we do as career advisors in this SBDC? We do use a developmental model. We are educators. We are working to teach students how to best represent themselves as professionals and pursue their career goals. We do this because our students will become graduates and young professionals, and then mid-level professionals and senior professionals. And the skill set that we're teaching them now is when they're going to need to know how to utilize the rest of their professional careers. If we were to hand them an internship or hand them a job, we're not teaching them how to do it the next time and the next time and the next time. And the numbers show that the graduating class right now, this generation, will change jobs anywhere from 10 to 16 times before they retire. So it's imperative that they learn the skill set while they're here with our coaching, with our advising, with our assistance, so that they can be successful not only when they graduate, but 2 to 3 years after they graduate and 5 years after that. We are an opt-in service on campus. So we do a lot of work to market ourselves out to students. So we work with our Elon 1010 instructors to bring the majority of our Elon 1010 classes, which is that first right now in the fall, Elon 1010 classes that our first year students are taking, to bring them into the SBDC. They get a nice overview of our work. For some of them, they might do like Resume Jeopardy, or they might talk about LinkedIn, depending on what their Elon 1010 instructor has asked for the presentation to be about. But really what we're trying to do is introduce them to the office, let them see that we're not scary, let them see that they don't have to have it all figured out to walk into our doors, but instead, this is a place to come to help them figure it out. Right? We really want to be a resource for those students that are exploring, for those students that are trying to pick their major, for those students that maybe know what they want to major in, but don't know what they want to utilize that degree for. Oftentimes students think I go to the Career Center once I have it figured out, and we want the students to recognize and realize you can come to the Career Center to have those exploratory questions answered and really engage in conversation with our career advisors. So Elon 1010 is a great way for a student to get introduced to our office. And so if you have a first year student, ask them if their Elon 1010 class visited the SBDC. That's a good way to find out if they've been into our office. As far as our one-on-one appointments are concerned, our kind of inroad or our first point of contact with students is oftentimes the resume appointment. They want to build that first college resume. They're taking that high school resume, which is oftentimes just a long list of activities they've engaged in, and turn it into a college or professional resume. And they will do that through a career advising appointment prior to one of our fairs or the on-campus student employment fair. And that is a great inroad for us. It helps us to meet the student, get to know them a bit, understand what they're interested in, and then help them to create a great first college resume. But we hope also help them and encourage them to come back for additional conversations and additional career advising appointments. Like I said a minute ago, we're really looking for students in all exploratory stages, not just once they have a major or once they have kind of quote unquote their professional path figured out. They just need to help our help in getting there. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how we support each school. But if your student hasn't elected a major yet or hasn't kind of honed in on what they want to study, they absolutely are supported in our main office here in the Student Professional Development Center, which is in Mosley, hard to miss, right across from the help desk. So they come into this office to make an appointment, or they go on to the Elon Job Network to make an appointment, and we'll make sure they're meeting with an advisor that can help them with kind of exploring what their major might be or what their area of studies they might be interested in, and what that could mean for a future job or a future graduate school opportunity. So please know, as we talk about career advising, as I jump into the schools, we're working with students that are both already major declared and students that are still exploring or undecided in their majors. As I mentioned before, over 50% of our team is student facing with a career advising focus. We're well resourced in supporting students, and we're able to really assist students if they come in to meet with us. Like I said before, we're an opt-in service on campus, and we do a lot of work to market ourselves out to students. We do a lot of in-classroom presentations, not just in Elon 1010, but in classrooms across campus. Students and alumni receive career services for a lifetime. We have a career advisor that's dedicated to supporting alumni. He creates not only programming for alumni, also he's got a whole Moodle site that he's building for alumni, and he does one-on-one advising appointments with alumni. If your student has an immediate career need, maybe they just heard about this great internship and they have an interview lined up tomorrow, we have drop-in hours every Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. across our different offices. So I mentioned that we're centralized in the services that we render, but we do have offices across campus to make it as easy as possible for students to access our services. Our main office is in the Mosley Center. That's where I'm sitting at today, right across from the help desk. It's hard to miss in a big wavy glass wall as you walk into the building. We do have a career office called the Porter Family Professional Development Center in the Love School of Business, and we have a career office in the School of Communications in McEwen. We have a career advisor who sits with student athletes and works with athletics, and then a career advisor who sits in global and is working with a lot of our students that are in the Study USA program, as well as our international students. So although we are centralized, we have a hub and spoke model where we're working throughout campus to make sure students can find us and access our resources. So those drop-in hours are across campus as well. I mentioned the Elon Job Network. I've mentioned exploring and education. We also, I did not mention with the exploring students and students who are undecided in their majors, we do have CAE courses. Those are career exploration and education classes. They're 1 credit elective courses and a great way for students who are undecided or exploring to sit with other students and talk through tools, assessment, some of the questions, some career development modules to help them kind of hone in on what they might be interested in and what that could look like as a future career. And then we assist students with on-campus student employment. So that's a nice broad overview of the career advising, but let me jump into each specific school so you can get an idea of what career advising looks like in the school or schools that your student might be majoring in or interested in majoring in. Career advising in our School of Communications. As I said, we have a team that sits over in McEwen, very accessible right there in the building. All communication students have to complete a 4-credit internship. So we have an internship director who sits with our team in the suite of career advisors and a corporate and employer relations professional who sits in the School of Communications as well, and whose role is to go out into our major metropolitan areas where our students are interested in working and interning and building relationships with organizations and companies that are going to support the School of Communications. So the team is highly connected to the faculty. They attend faculty meetings. They're invited into the communications classes, and the faculty refers students regularly to the School of Communications team for career conversations and internship search conversations as well. There is a tool in the School of Communications that's called the Big List. So if you have a School of Communications student and you want to hear about whether they've been paying attention to career and some of the resources that are distributed by our team, ask if they've seen the Big List or ask if they look at the Big List. The Big List is sent out by the School of Communications Career Services team, and it is exactly what it says it is. It is a big list of career programs, employers that are coming to campus, job opportunities, internship opportunities, and resources for students. It is sent out bi-weekly, and it is usually a great tool for students to utilize who are actively in some type of internship or job search process. We do have career guides for each major, and I will send Will this PowerPoint so that he can make sure to share it with the parent engagement website, because the career guides are linked right there. But the neat thing about the career guides for each major is that they dive into job titles, the types of organizations those majors have pursued, and really what is kind of life post Elon look like for these majors as it relates to our alumni who are working in the industry. So they're really great guides for students that are exploring majors and wanting to see what can I do with this major, and also students who are in those majors to see what other alumni have done with that major. We had that spring meet and greet, which will be coming up. We're sending out invitations for that meet and greet in November to our employer partners, and it will be hosted in February. And then we also, for the sport management students, have a really intensive mock interview program for all senior sport management students. The career advisors are currently meeting with all of them, and as a part of their program, they mock interview with all of our career advisors as if they're applying for a job that they've selected, so they can hone those interview skills. So you see a lot of really embedded career work in the School of Communications, and what you'll see as I walk through each school is that embedded career work throughout. The College of Arts and Sciences is a larger school, right? It's got 21 different departments, and the disciplines are really broad. So you'll see here, instead, like the School of Communications, all of our career advisors support all majors in that school. We actually kind of focus our College of Arts and Sciences team so that they can support students within the divisions of the College of Arts and Sciences. So we have a career advisor that's focused on the arts and humanities, a career advisor focused on social and behavioral sciences, and a career advisor focused on STEM. So similar to when I mentioned the big list before in the School of Communications, we have newsletters that go out for each branch, the arts and humanities, social and behavioral sciences, and STEM within the college. So instead of all College of Arts and Sciences students receiving a generalized newsletter about all of the different disciplines and areas of study, they have a discipline or division specific newsletter that speaks to them with their jobs and internships that they're going to be most interested in, and it's going to information that's going to be most relevant to them within the fields that they're interested in potentially pursuing. So that's a really nice way that we're able to make sure students are getting information that's going to be most helpful and pertinent to them. We do have a dedicated pre-health advisor. So if your student is already pre-professional health, first or second year student that says, I want to go to medical school, I want to go to dental school, I want to be a PA or a PT, I know what what that, I know that's part of my plan. I highly recommend that they go ahead and make an appointment with our pre-health advisor. It's kind of never too early to make that appointment and to find out what they can do while they're here at Elon to make sure that they're well aligned for that next step into medical school, PA school, PT school, dental school, and other like programs. Our pre-health advisor also has some really nice programming that he's put together throughout the year so that students can understand what they need to do in that kind of in a group setting to make sure that they're tracking towards a great application. And I mentioned the CAE courses. He's actually hosting and holding a CAE course that's pre-health focused this spring for students that know that they're going to be applying to medical school or other health focused professional schools. We have a graduate school advisor that supports all students because we have the highest percentage of students that go on to graduate school from the College of Arts and Sciences, but students from all of our schools pursue graduate school, post-graduation. In any given year, it's around 17 to 25% of our students go on to graduate school, post-graduation, and our graduate school advisor helps them with that application process, helps them with looking at what types of graduate school and what graduate programs they would be interested in. We also host some graduate school focused events, bringing graduate schools to campus, whether that's kind of when they come just for a quick table or information session or a larger event where we have multiple graduate schools on campus at the same time. Internships are not required for most CAS majors, but highly encouraged. Internships, even if you're planning on going into graduate school, can be a fantastic learning experience for a student and a really great way to build their resume and to build their knowledge in their area of industry interest or area of study interest. And then, as I mentioned in the previous slide, we do have a STEM meet and greet that's focused on our STEM students, and then that campus-wide career fair that really meets the needs of our diverse College of Arts and Sciences areas of study and all the different areas that our students want to go into post-graduation and for internships. Our School of Health Sciences, the Francis Center, we have a dedicated pre-health advisor. I've already kind of focused on that. We do host a nursing career day and networking event for PA students, but we also provide professional development presentations for our students in the PA, DPT, and nursing programs. Those programs are really strongly cohorted, so we know who those students are, and we can really make sure that we're programming to support their needs and work closely with faculty to on the timing of that programming so it fits with the timeline of their hiring cycle. So they're a great team, smaller programs, very cohorted, so we can do some really close connective work with each one of the cohorts and make sure that the programming is most relevant to them and where they're at in their professional development. Similar in the School of Education, we have a focused career advisor who works closely with the school and faculty. She's actually hosting a panel this week of recruiting professionals in the teaching field and alumni that's all about how to interview as a teacher. What are the types of questions that you're going to be asked? What to expect out of interviewing for school districts and schools, and how to put your best foot forward. So similar to the School of Health Sciences, we're able to really closely work with our School of Education because we know who those graduates are. We know who all of our teacher candidates are, and our advisor meets with all of the senior seminars in the fall to make sure those teacher candidates are well aligned with where they want to go in the future and ready for those interviews when those opportunities come up and are posted with the school districts that they're most interested in. So, and we host that teacher interview day or that teacher fair every spring to make sure we're exposing our teacher candidates to as many schools as possible and just making assuring that they're finding great opportunities in the classroom. So the School of Business is our busiest center when it comes to just the sheer percentage of students that come in, which may not be a surprise. As an opt-in service, we have different percentage of students who utilize our services in different schools, and the largest percentage of students utilize our services in the School of Business. All business students must complete an internship for credit to graduate, and professional development in the business school is embedded in the curriculum through the Gateway to Business course. So the Gateway to Business course is a course that all business students have to take and is actually also, I believe, part of the business administration minor. And as a part of that course, students will learn about resumes. They actually have a assignment. They have to update their resume and they get a review and feedback on their resume. They then will learn about LinkedIn. As you'll see there, a picture of students with all their LinkedIn profiles. They have their LinkedIn reviewed and they're given feedback on if their LinkedIn profile is kind of fundamentally complete. A LinkedIn profile can always be elevated, but is it foundationally what it needs to be from a first step? Because oftentimes those gateway to business students are sophomore students. So what does that kind of foundational LinkedIn need to look like? And then the last assignment that they'll complete as a part of that gateway to business class is a pre-recorded interview. And if any of you work in recruiting or have been through an interview recently, you might have done your own pre-recorded interview. They're often through a platform called HireVue. And we have a similar platform called Big Interview where students can practice speaking to a screen just as I am today without having feedback or an interviewer from the other side. A lot of large organizations, especially in certain industries, are using HireVue or pre-recorded interviews as a first step in their interview process now. And so students not only have to be great when sitting in a room with an interviewer or on a phone with an interviewer, they also have to be great at talking to a computer screen. So if you haven't experienced a pre-recorded interview, I highly recommend checking it out. It is a whole new skill set that our students had to learn during COVID and then has continued on since COVID. So it's embedded in that class. And that big interview tool is open to all students. I was just talking with a student today who wants to practice for some HireVue interviews and is going to be jumping into Big Interview just to practice their skills in talking to a camera and talking to a computer screen about themselves, which is often a bit uncomfortable. So you'll see here, similar to the other schools, the business school has what's called the career catalog. Every school is a little bit different in how we market out that newsletter or that big list or that catalog, but it also has a bi-weekly email that highlights opportunities that are posted in the Elon Job Network, companies that are coming to campus, like we'll have Wells Fargo on campus tomorrow for interviews, and opportunities in the School of Business that are aligned with professional development. Similar to the career pathways that you saw in the School of Communication, there's career paths information on the Porter Center website where students can see the types of jobs that they might want to pursue with different majors. And then you'll see some information about our career events. We're piloting a new tool in the School of Business this year called First Friday Career Labs. This is really great for first and second year students who maybe aren't ready to jump in for a bunch of one-on-one appointments yet because they're not really sure what they want to do, but they want to continue with their professional development. They can come to a career lab, which are on Fridays, once a month, and work with other students on a variety of professional development topics, right? And they actually will learn from the questions that the other students ask. So it's a really great opportunity, especially for a student who might be more introverted, who isn't comfortable asking questions, but wants to hear the other questions that are asked and learn from those questions as they're asked. So I highly recommend that information about the First Friday Career Labs is sent out in that career catalog and as on digital boards all throughout the Love School of Business, so students know when it is and know how to take advantage of that great program. I'll quickly highlight, in case we have some student athlete families in the space with us today, we do have a career advisor focused on working with student athletes. They have kind of oftentimes a different internship need. Some of them need to stay local for practice reasons, even for competition reasons, because some competitions start before the fall semester starts and some end after the spring semester ends. So this career advisor sits in athletics, works closely with our athletic academic advising team, and makes sure that the professional development needs of our student athletes are met, and works alongside our career advisors in all the other offices. We will have a big networking event in January where we'll bring alumni back to campus who are former student athletes, and we'll connect them with our upperclassmen student athletes, helping them to see what does life look like after Elon as a former student athlete? What are all the variety of different fields and opportunities that I might look at pursuing? And then with alumni, it might be far off for those of you who are first and second year parents, but it happens quickly here at Elon. We see them matriculate through the 4 years that we have them here. We do offer career advising for a lifetime. So we have a career advisor focused on working with alumni, creating programming for alumni, and he even visits our major metropolitan locations where alumni are and will host professional networking events alongside our alumni engagement team. So whether it's an event focus on professional networking, or an event where he can add some professional networking components to it or professional development components to it. It's often a great time for him to meet alumni in the cities where they're living and working. We have a new platform that we've introduced this year on September 16th. If you haven't heard about it from your student, ask them about it. It's been really a fantastic platform for us. It's called Elon Q&A, Questions and Alumni. And it actually puts in the hands of your student the 35,000 alumni that are out there working in various industries, living in all different locations and experiencing success post Elon. Students can ask a question of alumni, such as, I am a psychology major and I don't think that I want to be a counselor or a psychologist. I'd like to use my degree as a human resources professional. Has anybody, is anybody a former psychology major who's working in human resources, and what advice would you have for me? The tool is AI generated. So the AI will read the keywords in that question. It will identify best matched alumni, around 20 to 25 best matched alumni, and it will send that question to those alumni. Alumni then will answer that question and give student direct feedback about their own experiences post Elon as a HR professional who was also a psychology major. So it's a really fantastic tool, and we're seeing the interaction between students and alumni as highly impactful. Our alumni are so generous and so kind. Oftentimes they'll not only answer the question for the student, they'll also send them their cell phone number and send me a text. I'd love to set up a call and explain further, like, how else can I be of service and how else can I help you? And that just goes to show how connected our alumni still feel to the institution and how wonderful the community is of alumni. I was just speaking with a student last night at a book club that I'm helping to host with Carrie Taylor out of the president's office, and was talking to the student who wants to go into international affairs. And he said, I actually have spoken with 2 alumni recently who work in international affairs. And I said, well, how did you get a hold of him? And he said, Elon Q&A. He reached out with a question, heard back from a couple of alumni, 2 of them he's already set up calls with, and he's building relationships with from a networking and professional development standpoint, that he's learning from them and their experiences. So it's a great tool, and I'd highly recommend students utilizing it, even if it's just to learn more about maybe majors that they're interested in. And it helps them to start to learn how to network in a really nice, safe environment with Elon alumni. We also have some Bridges programs, Bridges to Los Angeles, for our graduating students who know they want to go live and work in LA, but maybe haven't figured out kind of what that looks like yet. They're able to live in the housing that Elon in LA has and receive some professional development in the city in August, helping them to kind of get their feet under them in LA, which kind of has a different culture in regards to hiring and post-graduation jobs in the entertainment industry. So we really try to make sure that we're meeting across all of our students different areas that they want to go into, have programs, have career advisors, have events, or some form of communication that's going out to them that they see themselves in, and they see how we can help them with that next step, or with that exploring what the first step could be in picking a major. So just to give you kind of some quick numbers again before I close out the kind of information part of the conversation and start to answer your direct questions. We did post over 32,000 internships on the Elon Job Network last year, over 8,000 full-time positions, and that was in a more difficult economic market. We'll be way over that this year for full-time job postings, and we have a lot of postings right now. So if your students are actively looking for an internship or a full-time job, please tell them to look on the Elon Job Network, because we really want to see the applications come in for those jobs that our partners have sent out to us. For our first and second year students, the Elon Job Network is a great place to look for on-campus jobs. You'll find out about all of our events that they can come to that are wide open to them, and it's a great way for them just to get introduced to the SPDC on our kind of main digital platform, which is going to be that Elon Job Network. So that is a lot of information, and I've talked at you for a little while. I think I'm like looking at right around 30 minutes or a little bit longer than that. So I am going to stop sharing. I'll make sure that Will has this presentation so that it can be shared alongside the recording, and I'll be able to answer your questions. We also might stop recording if I can get that to happen, so that your questions aren't part of the recording. So I think I can do that here.